Yes, sir. What's up, guys?
Yes. This DJ will kick the floor in 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Mzansi Reality TV. And I'm hoping that you are enjoying everything that we're giving you. We're doing our best. That's why it doesn't just come like that. But right now, time is... I would have said it, but it doesn't matter. Wherever you are, I think this video is gonna find you at the right time. For now, we are doing it for you, and we hope that it comes out the way we visioned it. So today, we are just gonna take a twist, just move a bit away from this whole saga of Baxter. Now we are going to the side. One of the cold cases. It's like we're moving from what is about to happen to almost predict what will happen. But in any case, you will understand one day why I said this. Now, Emily, this is Mr. Anonymous. For those who do not know me, I greet you. Please subscribe and please like our videos. And thank you again for the love that you've been showing us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. Welcome back to Mzansi Reality. We're back at the hashtag Senzo Meyiwa trial, and we had lots and lots of updates today. For one, it was the bail hearing of Bongani Ntanz, and also we heard some rather troubling news regarding Judge Tshifhiwa Maumela. Now, the Judicial Services Commission, otherwise known as the JSC, has called upon President Cyril Ramaphosa to suspend 2 judges, one being Tshifhiwa Maumela, who is presiding over the Senzo Meyiwa trial, pending an outcome of a tribunal inquiry. The JSC has recommended that judges Tshifhiwa Maumela and Mngqibisa Mngqibisa 2C be suspended for their failure to deliver numerous reserved judgments. So Judge Maumela is currently presiding over the high-profile and sensational murder trial of 27-year-old soccer star Senzo Meyiwa. The trial started in April of 2022 and is set to resume next Tuesday. So if a tribunal requested by the JSC finds that the 2 judges have failed to deliver judgment, it will prima facie, on the face of it, indicate incapacity, gross incompetence, or gross misconduct on the part of the judges, taking into account the extent of the delay and the prejudice suffered by the parties. So the JSC said in a statement, the JSC has decided to request that the Chief Justice appoint a Judicial Conduct Tribunal to consider the complaints. Due to the seriousness of the complaints, the JSC has also decided to advise the President that it is desirable that the judges Maumela and Mngqibisa 2C be placed on suspension pending the outcome of the tribunal processes, with certain conditions, including that the judges must, during the period of suspension, finalize all matters presently before them. According to Ground Up report, in October 2022, Judge Mngqibisa 2C was reported to the JSC for his failure to deliver judgment in a matter after 26 months. Okay, all the time I thought it was a woman, finds out it's a male judge.
Is it?
It's a male judge.
Mngqibisa. Okay. And which case in particular is in question here? Because from what I'm hearing is that Judge Mlambo, who's think head of Johannesburg, JSC, yes, is the one who launched a complaint after many complaints, as we are told.
So apparently, guys, in simpler English, I know that Nami, I struggle to consume all this information. Honey, I feel like I'm a lawyer at this point. So these 2 judges are being accused of being slow when it comes to giving judgment on cases at Pretoria High Court.
So you are saying, Emily, you are saying Nomonde Mngqibisa is a male.
Well, that's what this source or this compilation I got says. It says his failure. So I'm not sure.
I
if
think
it's a
they are
male
talking about
or a woman.
Tshifhiwa here because it's two of them, right? So this is a woman.
Also, Mngqibisa is a woman.
Yes, I would
Alright.
like to believe so.
All right. So I tried looking even for a picture or something of her online. Aye, Bazalwani, I did not succeed.
So the matter, I think the case that was the cause of Mngqibisa to be reported is one of the exemplary of the late judgment from this list is the case involving the dispute between the Department of Military Veterans and Health Service Company. The company claims the department failed to pay it, providing the medical care and counseling to military veterans in 2015. The matter then was heard at the Gauteng Division of the High Court in Pretoria on the 8th and the 9th of February 2021. The judgment was reserved by Nomonde Mngqibisa on the 21st of February 2021. 19 months later, she was still not it was still not delivered. And here they are referring to her as she. This is ground up.
Okay, this is we trust ground up.
Yes, which is, I think it was published on the 2022 September 22.
September of 2022.
Yes.
So apparently that case with the Department of Military Veterans and this Z something company, it's still pending even now.
Yes.
Even now,
Yes.
2023,
Yes.
we are in April. It's still pending. There's no judgment on it. So for that long, these people have been waiting. So the Department of Military Veterans and a Health Services Company was heard in Pretoria High Court on the 8th and 9th of February in 2021.
Yeah.
And judgment was reserved on 21st of February 2021. So the ruling in this vital court matter is still outstanding even now. So Judge President of the Gauteng High Court, Dunstan Mlambo, lodged a complaint with the JSC regarding this matter and a number of other judgments reserved for long periods. So according to a report by the South African judiciary to the Chief Justice at the end of December 2021, there were 156 reserved judgments outstanding for longer than 6 months. Overall, there were 830 reserved judgments, with the longest outstanding one dating back to 12 December 2012.
Yeah.
So that is a lot of cases to not have been judged.
And obviously, when you seek the law intervention in a matter, it is normally an agent matter, and obviously they have that power of looking at it and deciding whether this is an urgent matter to that point or it's just a matter that can be dealt with. But based on that, then there is a number of months that you are given. Is it 6 months? For you to hold the judgment. After that, then it is regarded as a case that is taking long to solve.
Yes.
And then it might actually get you into trouble. In this case, it's 19 months.
Oh, it's a lot, and we can currently see even what's happening with the Senzo Meyiwa case.
It is unfortunate
it's
that
taking too long.
It is unfortunate that we couldn't find what case in particular for Judge Tshifhiwa Maumela that is actually holding this water.
But it's not the Senzo Meyiwa
it's not the Senzo Meyiwa's case. So we are obviously then going to say, other than that, this one was taking long. It was sort of running like a kangaroo, according to many people.
I mean, for those who were following us while we were covering the trial, we did express frustrations. Even we'd have some of you guys calling in and sharing the same frustration, you know? And
there's a very important question that we need to answer here, because I know many of you then are going to assume probably that means then the recusal from the case. No, this does not affect the case. Even in that letter, when you look at it, it does say that the judges will be afforded time to finish whatever pending cases. So in this case, the answer is they are still going to finish and continue with the cases. I know some of you were excited that this is not going to happen. This might not happen. Not unless any complaint that could be laid against Judge Tshifhiwa Maumela that is pertaining the case itself, and that complaint holds. And then that's when then we can see recusal.
I mean, on the bright side, he still has time to not be overloaded while dealing with the ones he's left with. Yabo. That's on the bright side.
Because then you don't have any other cases. So
Yeah.
now there's not going to be an issue of let us block this 1, 2, and 3 because your lordship, if it pleases your lordship, no. Now it's going to be an issue of the advocates themselves, who will then be delaying based on the work that they have in hand. That is a good thing.
And maybe it will motivate him. You remember those breaks, those unnecessary breaks that would have been taken, they used to frustrate me a lot. Somebody coughs, it's a break. Somebody does this, it's a break. It used to frustrate me. So at least now he will be motivated to move. Yabo.
We hope so. We do hope so, because what could happen on the other side is that now he could be more occupied, because now we would have to fast forward all these cases that are pending, depending on the number of the cases that are pending on his side. Now we forgetting about Tusi in this case. We're just focusing on Judge Maumela, and that's where we obviously are interested in a sense, because we are now talking about Senzo's case. And we hope that maybe that will prompt this involvement and sort of make someone look at this case differently. Because now there are things that have been said about you. You are going under a certain thing that if it goes through and if the president forges on with the recommendations, then you are sitting on hot waters in a sense. So maybe from there, then we will see some bit of urgency, compassion, and everything that is probably needed for you to do your job properly.
All right. So retired Constitutional Court Judge and Freedom Under Law Chairperson Johan Giegler, speaking to independent media, said that Judge Tshifhiwa Maumela, who presides over the Senzo Meyiwa case, will have to lead the trial even if his suspension has been approved.
Exactly, answering many questions
Yes.
of people who were either celebrating or worried that it might take time then to finish Senzo's case. Because yes, if there was a recusal, then it will need more time for the next judge to come in and familiarize themselves with the case itself. So looking at the time that it took the whole case to reach where it is now, if it's anywhere, according to me, I think it's 15% on this whole thing. We still have 85% that is still left. But someone else who's involved with this case might come and say, nope, that is not the case. We're 50%, 70% in this case. My own observation, we are on 15% only.
Okay, so according to Judge Giegler, he's saying that the overwhelming probability is that Judge Maumela, although suspended, will continue and complete the trial that started before him and has been running before him. You can't just move that case to another judge. It doesn't work like that. He has to finish that job, said Judge Giegler. So the JSC, however, said the suspensions should be with certain conditions, which include that the judges must, during the period of suspension, finalize all matters that are presently before them. It is understood from this that Judge Maumela will have to continue with the Meyiwa trial, although the trial is expected to last for an extended period of time.
So look at this as a performance review I think in my own
in our simplified
in our
opinion.
simplified opinion, because now this is where you are said to be on sort of defaulting back to probation, and you're now reviewed in everything that you do. You're gonna be reviewed, which I think in if you look at it in that form, then you will be more eager for this guy to continue, because it sort of gives now more reason for you to take care of the case itself and do everything according to the book, which will be very interesting. As much as I'm not a fan of our South African law, but I believe that if it was applied accordingly with the case of Senzo, probably the case would have been put into rest by now.
Like the Oscar Pistorius one.
Yes,
I mean,
which took approximately 2 weeks or so.
2 weeks or so, or a month, I don't remember.
And it
but
was supposed to do that, considering that we were told about the amounts that these lawyers were charging. It was very, it needed to finish. The case needed to finish at the right time.
So the JSC said that at its meetings on January the 26th and 20th of April 2023, it considered the reports of the Judicial Conduct Committee relating to the complaints against the judges relating to their failure to deliver numerous reserved judgments. So the JSC decided that the failure to deliver the reserved judgments, if established, will prima facie indicate incapacity, gross incompetence, or gross misconduct on the part of the judges, taking into account the extent of the delay and the prejudice suffered by the parties, it said. So the JSC has subsequently decided to request, in terms of Section 19 of the Judicial Service Commission Act, that the Chief Justice appoint a Judicial Conduct Tribunal to consider the complaints and will advise the President of its decision. At this stage, it's not clear how many judgments from each judge are outstanding, especially with regards to Judge Tshifhiwa, Maumela. We don't know how many. At least with Mngqibisa, we're able to get an estimation of how many. So, however, if the tribunal finds them guilty of gross misconduct, their legal careers could be in jeopardy. Meanwhile,
we know what follows after that.
What follows?
I mean, if it's in jeopardy, like it's that revoking of whatever that you have. I think that's my thinking. Depending on how you react to this sort of, as I call it in simple language, performance review, which can take you back to your work eventually when you finish what you need to finish. This is my own thinking. But considering the broadness of this law, the law departments, if we may call it like that, and for me, law is not far from politics. So it depends. We don't know. It's who and who is in the zoo and who's on the other right side and the wrong side. If someone you have maybe at some point touched the wrong corner of by mistake is sitting on the other side, then your things might escalate fast. Then we have seen a lot of escalation during Defo's time, where other people felt that it was it was supposed to be, even if there was a punishment, a light punishment. And then others felt that they therefore deserved it. It's a different story for different stroke. But all I'm saying is that it's a broad environment where an outcome cannot be predetermined, in a sense. As much as I would like to say you can predetermine the outcome, but when it comes to law, anything can happen.
Anything can happen, eh? And it seems like this is not the first time that something like this is happening. 2 or 3 years ago, 3 then retired judges of the Pretoria High Court were found guilty of misconduct for delivering a series of judgments between them after more than a year. The actual hearings took place. So the JSC in that matter decided to give judges Ferdy Prella, Moses Mavundla, and Ntsikelelo Phoswa a slap on the wrist as a sanction, allegedly. So the 3 had to apologize to the then Judge President Bernard Ngupe, as well as to the litigants involved. They were also reprimanded by commission. This while in the minority judgment, some members of the commission felt the 3 judges should have been found guilty of gross misconduct. In this minority judgment, members of the commission's panel said, in their opinion, each judge should have been fined 500,000 rands payable over 6 months. So the commission's conduct tribunal investigated the complaints after they were lodged some years ago by Judge Ngupe, while he still headed this division of the High Court. In the majority ruling, the panel felt that an apology and a reprimand would amend the wrongs done by the respondent justices to the parties and will vindicate the principle underpinning the findings of guilt. So
and exactly, that's an example that I just gave, where I say it can escalate, and depending on who and where you are and how comfortable in that position that you are sitting on, things might be different.
So it seems like this has happened before, I mean, especially with the Pretoria High Court. The panel said while an apology satisfied, assuaged the feelings of the litigants and went some way in restoring the damage to the respect for the judiciary, a reprimand stood as an official rebuke to the conduct of the justices.
To what effect does prolonging the outcome of the case have to the case itself? In my own opinion, it does kill that mojo that the case had. So by the time you release it, it becomes whatever that you want it to be.
And it also exhausts, I mean, financially,
because you're looking at this, they're saying 15 million plus that is owed to them. And should they find that these people are right in claiming that money by that time, if you adjust it for inflation and everything, it should be more.
Go to the lawyers.
Yeah, it should be more than that, because now we could have used this money for other things and invested it to some other things that we needed to invest on as a company, or even pay our people that maybe we have already cut. Maybe they are sitting at home because of this. There are many arguments that you can make out of this. So 2021 to 2023, it sort of opens the can of worms, considering how the interest rate has been volatile.
Yes.
You have to consider such things.
Yes. So moving on, the Pretoria High Court on Friday denied bail to Bongani Ntanz, one of the 5 men accused of unaliving South African soccer star Senzo Meyiwa in 2014. So the court ruled that Ntanz failed to prove exceptional circumstances, or that it would be in the interest of justice to not grant him bail. So Ntanz has been charged with premeditated murder, attempted murder, robbery with aggravated circumstances, possession of firearms without a license, and possession of ammunition. Him and the rest of the 4 accused have pleaded not guilty. So Gauteng Deputy Judge President Aubrey Ledwaba said that the onus was on Ntanz to prove that he was still eligible for bail. He stated that Ntanz failed to explain why he was only bringing his bail application now, more than 2 years after his arrest. Well, that is a question that I think many of us have, but looking at the circumstances of how they got arrested in the first place, I mean, they were read out in the court. There's those disturbing statements that we were reading about them getting beaten up and stuff, allegedly. It was tricky. It was a tricky time.
In a situation like this where you have to consider what they have been trying to submit. Unfortunately, this is where I find myself wanting, because when you talk about law, it shouldn't be this animal that you cannot talk to. When these guys were submitting that, there are things like this that were done. It was also, the onus was also on the state to also investigate that.
So I was
and come with that and say, indeed, this happen, because the main aim is not to just get anyone arrested. The main aim is to make sure that the law is applied to the T. But if there is hindrances to that, the law becomes this monster we do not know.
Because he was even saying that he should have included the affidavits with the stains on them where he was getting beaten up and
Which
stuff.
would be an issue of...
Would he have got it? Would you think the police would have given him those affidavits?
I don't think so.
Looking at this entire situation and how everything is played out.
I really don't think so.
Would they just hand over those affidavits looking like that to the judge? And why didn't they ask for them? Because they know in the state that Bongani is in, he wouldn't get access to them. So to prove, why not investigate? Why not ask for those statements? I was very curious as to that. I don't understand.
I don't know. Let us create our own class of law here. According to our Criminal Procedure Act of 1977, the law allows for the release on the bail of a person who has been arrested and charged with the offense subject to certain conditions. And these conditions are as follows. The accused must appear before the court magistrate to apply for bail. The accused must provide sufficient information to satisfy the court that he or she will attend the court proceeding and comply with the condition imposed by the court. Number 3, the court must be satisfied that there is no risk that the accused will abscond or fail to attend the court proceeding. Number 4, the court must also consider the seriousness of the offense and likelihood of the accused commit further offenses if released on bail. The court, this is number 5, the court may impose conditions on the accused, such as reporting regularly on the police station, surrendering his or her passport, or refraining from contacting certain individuals. In cases where the accused is considered a flight risk, the court may require the accused to deposit a sum of amount or provide surety as a guarantee that she or he will attend the court proceeding. The court may refuse the bail if there is a risk of the risk that the accused may interfere with the witness or evidence, or if the accused poses a threat to the safety of the public. So you look at all these things. This guy is a first-time offender, right?
Yes.
This guy is alleged to have been carrying this weapon, right?
Yes.
And they took it, and the argument still in court whether this guy indeed is an owner of it. So basically, it's based on allegations that this guy at this point is held. Other than that, he's not a flight risk. He's got a home in KZN. Yes, because everything is happening here in Johannesburg, this guy is needed to be in Johannesburg. Given the right lawyer, given the resources that you need to actually face these laws, this guy would have been out. If it was, if anything that this guy was represented by needed money and that money was paid, this guy would have been released. And the argument of this guy losing a job.
Well, Ntanz also stated that his family relied on him as a sole breadwinner. Ledwaba, however, said that Ntanz did not state the amount of money he has in his bank account, nor did he ask his attorney to help unfreeze his accounts. So that really troubled me. So the conditions of you getting bail are whether you have money or not whether you are innocent or guilty.
And as we have seen,
this troubled my spirit.
We as we were told here, what conditions indeed you should. But that one of having money, I don't think it should hold. And if you really have a good lawyer, representing you. Not, I don't know who's representing this guy now. I really don't know because we didn't see them, right? When we were watching
I
the
saw on social media, it was actually Ramosipil.
Ramsipil,
Yes.
the vets guy.
Yes.
So basically, he let that slide.
I don't know what to make of this at this point. I don't know what to make of this entire situation.
Maybe
And
it's a chess. If it's him, maybe it's a chess game.
how so?
Because looking at that guy when he was coming, the vets. For those who do not know, the vets we named Ramsipil vets guy. I'm sorry for that, but we have to because we're not going to be able to use the names. Some of us cannot pronounce them. So the vets guy looks like a legit lawyer. Vets guy looks like someone who mean business. It's either he's just going through the process so that it comes in handy in future, such as you denied this guy a bail and there was nothing that was actually solid for you to deny this guy a bail. Mm-hmm. Maybe strengthening his case of unfair treatment. To me, it looks like that. If you're going to just let it slide like that.
Okay.
I'm not saying he let it slide, but I feel like for me, considering his standards and looking at him, is someone who would not let anything slide like that, knowing
Because
that your life
I
depended
was
on it.
very surprised. And then the judge went on to further say that there's no evidence that he will be re-employed or find another job if he is released.
Such arguments which are practically not founded. I mean, what if there would be a chance of this guy being employed again?
And then he's also said that he's residing in KZN, his family's in KZN. So when he's released, there's no address or permanent address in Gauteng where he will need to appear for court. And then I'm taken back to the case of Dr. Nandipa and the father being released. He's in Port Edward, which is the Eastern Cape, and he's attending court in Bloemfontein. But he was still able to get bail.
Not unless, Emily. Mm-hmm. These files were filed by TT. Because remember, initially, the bail started with TT. The heads of arguments they were made by TT, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it would have been.
And at the time,
tricky.
TT seemed overstretched. So, again, which then proves my argument to say that if it started with Mr. Vets, it probably would be a different outcome. But because it initially started with someone else, Mr. Vets is just taking over, collecting receipts there and there where he can. And then because you look at a lawyer who's not overstretched, will be able to know that if we are going to be released on bail, even I know that you would need a place to reside on that is very close. To make sure that you close all the loopholes. A case in argument of Nandipa's father, which is a totally different case because there is a bit of power games that is playing there.
If he doesn't have a residing place in Gauteng, then maybe the traveling costs. He was supposed to guarantee that to come to court, I will show up to court.
Yes,
I will be able to afford to travel to court.
So now the outcome of this bail hearing is literally saying that we are holding you because we are doing you a favor. You are going to come early in court. You are going to be on time in court. And more so, you will avoid, if anything, doing any crime. That to me sounded like that. if we are inside, which is not a very pleasant place to be at, considering then the complaints that they have been laying that no one is willing to hear.
No one.
So I think the guy would have preferred to be out.
He would
And
have.
there's no one to interfere with in any case, if that is the case. There's basically no one to interfere with. This is a case of eliminating someone. That person
He
is
would
gone.
have. I mean, all he needed to do was to prove that he's not a flight risk. He has a family, a wife, and children. He doesn't even own a passport. Stuff like that, you know. They would have really helped. But I guess maybe there's something we're missing. Guys, tell us, what are we missing? Is there something we're missing with the issue of Bongani?
And indeed, I mean, one might argue that the issue of bail is also dependent on the nature of the case, which I would not decline or not accept. I would accept that. But in this case, then, when we look at the case itself, there are other charges that might eventually be laid, because, I mean, if the gun was used somewhere else, then that makes you a person who perpetually does that thing. Then in the judgment of saying we are not granting you a bail, then there will be a bit of validity in that case, which, in my thinking, I think that's what they are using.
If you say so, Mina. Well, what I heard was money, and I kept thinking to myself,
No,
oh my
indeed.
God, if you don't have money and you are in trouble with the law, you are going to go and sleep in the jail.
Yeah, there's a saying that if you have money gets arrested, not you.
Oh my God, all I heard was money. Every reason that judge gave, I heard money. This guy doesn't have money, so he must stay here, allegedly. That's all I heard.
I've said it before, that this law is all about people who have money. And indeed, you look at people who have chances of reviewing the cases and all that, it is too expensive. For you to go through this whole process, it is very expensive. So that tells you that the manner in which this law was made initially, it was to cater for certain people. And it is still today catering for those people. You cannot just go and appeal as a normal citizen. You can, probably. They will tell you can, according to
but
what.
They will tell you that it's a costly process.
Yes.
Already, if you don't have the money, you are feeling discouraged.
Yes.
They will say it's a costly process. So if you do not have money, stay away from the crime.
So this guy, a classical example of not having money, is sitting there.
Now that's all I saw. That's all I heard, in my opinion, as a kangaroo court member.
Obvious. We these are allegations.
Yes.
These are our assumptions.
That's all I heard.
We do not have
money.
any
You don't have
any
money.
background of this, but we do our own research and we come up with such things. We don't know what you're thinking, Emil. I don't know if we're done.
We're done.
We don't know what you're thinking. Tell us what you're thinking. This is how we roll here.
Yeah.
And obviously, we do accept people
Opposing
coming
views.
from academic side of law, and we do accept anyone
Please
who
help us
comes
out.
with criminal knowledge. Anything.
Criminal justice knowledge. Even criminology at this point.
Even people who are suffering from the system that probably one day we will have to talk about. Tell us what you think.
What has been your experience? Is it anything close to what Bongani went through?
It is very sad, because if by any chance this case was to be dismissed,
Joe, he must.
but do you, because they're not arrested as yet, right?
Yes, they're not charged yet. They're
They're
not convicted.
They're not convicted.
They're
yet.
not convicted. They may be charged, but they're not convicted.
So I think I would like to know what would happen. Will you still be eligible to sue?
Of course he must, if this case is dismissed.
But that's the thing. One person on this agenda network was like, when I got a chance of getting out, even though I knew that I didn't do that thing, when I was exonerated, I just made sure that I don't want to go back there. And
no, you must go back.
I guess it has that tendency of making you feel like you don't want to face.
But you must.
Because you think that they might reverse whatever that day. Because you feel at their mercy. That's how it is. Once you start feeling at someone's mercy, you don't want to provoke that person. You don't want to go back and visit that thing. You're just going to pause there and say, I'm done.
But no, you must. You must. If that has ever happened to you, you must get your own justice. You also have rights. And if they've been violated by you sitting in a jail and you haven't done the crime, then it's your right to also sue.
Well, I think, Emil, we have answered everything.
Yeah.
Please tell us anything that we probably have overlooked and you want to add on the comment, and we shall see you again on the next episode, which we cannot disclose what is that episode gonna be. It can be anything, because we are just going like that. Thank you very much from Mzansi Reality. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video.